Rip.
Oh,
But
man,
yes.
I just wanted to say I'm excited to hear how this first hour is gonna go with just Rain having to walk Pufflesworth in the park.
Yes, indeed, we have a fresh session of Rescue at Raxis. Last time, one of you others can recount. I'm busy.
Pufflesworth was a shit.
We're gonna need to kill him, Cornelius.
I'm pretty sure that I already established that, but yes, and I concur.
I was both the instigator of this movement and concur with it. Well,
And yes, there was of course the part where it was a lot of it was catching up with people in the city after a successful return from the mines. And of course, figuring out why the package hadn't arrived that was ordered from the library temple. And finding out that it had been grabbed during transit.
mm-hmm. And now is the question of what will the party do? We have the dinner, of course. We could just jump straight to that unless there's something else you guys want to iron out.
Well, I already pointed out that at the moment it doesn't really matter if we start chasing down people for the paper since it's gonna happen at any point, so it doesn't matter to start running out now. Can wait until tomorrow. So I don't know if anyone else has some last minute securing or gathering
Kern's
or
good.
Well, that's nice. That's
So,
two
yeah,
members of a
rules.
5-person party.
Well, yeah, Rain is going on her thing, but she's not got anything else important that she's planned.
I got work in practice.
Well, you
Well,
already
not
did
right
that.
now.
Oh.
You're just filling in an
No.
hour or two before the dinner.
Eh, probably relaxing a bit. I've done a lot today.
Maybe
Oh
converse.
yeah, were you going to invite Congrats along?
Think I did. I wasn't sure if he wanted to come or not.
Wasn't even really brought up just because he was also a member of the party that saved the day.
Yeah, I think the only one
Yeah.
we really discussed was
A reason.
Horizon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. That is correct. Yeah.
So, shall we just jump ahead then? I assume Zarzul hasn't got anything to do except light up.
Finish brushing out Wolfgang's fur and preparing.
In which case, get your glad rags on. Let's see. There we go. City view.
What on?
Glad rags. Frivolous slang for good dress. For party time attire. Yes. As a group, you head through the streets. Pufflesworth is slightly tired out, but who knows how much longer that will last.
And who knows if we're going to find Robinson alive when he returns home.
But yes, you head as a group through
All
the streets. It's still pretty busy. Busier than it has been the last few nights that you remember walking through the town. And the clientele has changed quite a bit. You're seeing less of the normal civilians. You're seeing more people who carry themselves with a bit of weight, a bit of presence. There's a lot more leather on display. And you're not even in the red light district, so you're guessing it's professional lever. Up towards the gate of the noble quarters. Several guards on standby. Yep. You have business?
Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, I believe we have been, my party and I have been cordially invited. As I present the invitation for Cornelius and party.
Cornelius and entourage.
Entourage, yeah.
Yep. Just need a moment here to just verify. It takes a few moments and you are led on in. Alright, now remember, stick with your escort. Do not try to veer off.
Very well.
And once more, Cornelius, you get that sense of comfort, familiarity. There is decadence on display. Nothing gaudy or too tasteless either. These are respectable kind of mansions and lands. You can't be
just in. They say, and just enough of the most recent fad to just show that you're in on it, but not too in on it.
Exactly. Although there is, of course, the predominance of equine symbols, swords, arms, coats. Of course, this is jock country, where the knights come.
Yes. Night house.
Quite a few of the handsome cabs traipsing back and forth with heavy entourage of guards. Although you're seeing a bit less plate armor, a bit less tabards, you're seeing more mercs, you're seeing more dogs of war type of folk.
Yes.
Led around a slightly circuitous route so as you don't break the traffic. And then to the Boarhen Manor once again, where the man at the door quickly lets you in. Yes, of course, of course. Led through hallways, corridors, passages, before a smaller dining room, not the grand hall you were at before, but this one's still pretty fucking huge, on par with Karagrim's dining room. Is Lord Cornelius sent and entourage. You witness a table that is, it's not covered, but you don't see a whole lot of a tablecloth. There's dishes now and here, nicely placed together, very artistically. And you can see several of the folks there. The hosts, of course, the Boarhens, Helvetica, their daughter, along with Lazul Renenbach, his colossal top hat, and 3 of his spouses. There is also, beside him, sitting a sullen dwarf with large black iron beard clips.
No.
Is anyone paying much attention to Zazel at the moment?
Not really.
Depends.
Okay, Zazel's going to actually just cast a little spell he picked up at last level up just to see what will happen. He doubts anything will happen, but he's going to do it anyway. He's going to cast Locate Object and see if he can find his dagger in the near vicinity.
Well, pop the spell so I can see the distance.
I think it's... Yeah, where is it?
It's a speech bubble button. There you go.
It's not too far. It's
Exactly.
1,000 feet.
Yep. No, you do not pick up the signal.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I imagine Cornelius is probably noticed something from the series. Just no, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Rain's probably in the same boat, going, "Oh fuck."
But yes,
Hey,
Murloff.
I don't know where that dagger will end up, and I don't want it to be anywhere near me at the time.
But yes, Murloff Boarhen stands up, toast in hand, greeting you all, ushering you all in. Please, please, there's no formal arrangement here, just sit on down. He says this, of course, but you can see that obviously they've been formally placed, and there are little placards to show where to sit. Malgern, you're not surprised. You're near the end of the table, right near Karagrim.
Uh-huh.
Where's Zazzle's position?
Let me just double check and get the name. You are sitting next to Granita, one of the Kobold wives.
Okay.
I was gonna say that sounds
Okay.
like a Renabach wife.
Yeah. You can see
Yes, it
further up
wasn't the one
ahead
who-
there's Copper and Rudy, his husbands.
Okay, cool. Is there a spot for Wolfgang, or can he's gonna just sit beside me or whatever?
There's a few large cushions that look like they're for pets in waiting.
Okay.
Does your wolf have any particular taste, sir?
No, not really.
I shall find something then to sate it.
Thank you, good sir.
Yes, welcome, welcome. It's excellent to see you all, friends. Excellent job. You've been doing so much since your arrival in the kingdom.
Oh, not at all, sir. Not compared to anyone else, as I can see.
No one else returned my daughter to me. No one else helped a bloodbound friend and his business. No one else has given Karagrim there such a hearty chuckle. I say it's been a decade or two since the man has laughed properly.
Actually, was that ever told to after your meeting? Where did you ever tell about how Malgern was laid on the floor after attacking him?
No.
Well, we know Malgern wouldn't have said it. The question is, did
Yeah.
Castalia ever bring it up?
I was wondering who he was talking to. I was like, I hope not.
It was more of the three of you. Since Rain and Castalia.
I mean,
was
Rain's
there
an
as well.
asshole. She might have.
I wasn't there.
Yeah,
Oh, you weren't there.
It was
Good.
Congrats and Castalia.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a third player there. Okay,
Nope.
never mind.
So then the question is, did Castalia share the story? Is PO muted?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, I could imagine Castalia's not as probably wanted to save some of Malgern's honor.
Would she
She's
have?
no snitch.
So yeah, Cornelius is probably just gonna be wondering a bit what that was a reference to, but not ask any further.
Oh yeah, that's right. I can't pull out the Boarhen tokens. I deleted those to save some space.
Thank you.
Well, I must say that I'm pleased to know that our presence here have brought some joy around here. And I must say that I am also much honored to be invited to be honored to meet here under such wonderful arrangements. As I look over the table, I'm assuming there's some sort of appetizers.
Oh yes, like I said, it's not coated. There's just a nice little dottings of various
Yeah.
little aperitifs, things to try. And of course, Cornelius, you find that your chair is beside Helvetica. As no doubt you were hoping. Your ambition to be upwardly mobile.
The plot thickens.
Like a fine gravy.
Great.
But Rain is also right beside Cornelius.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
Did we bring Horizon?
You never
That's
brought it
up
up,
to you.
actually. Like, the question was posed, no one answered, and it just sort of happened.
Did we? We need to decide now. Did we bring
No,
Horizon
that's
West?
you decide
that's
that.
on you. Yeah.
Rain would have been all right with it, and she would have suggested it.
Alright then. Horizon West is
Okay.
there.
So okay.
who seems very comfortable with the situation. Already he is filling up a wine glass.
Yeah, he can
Uh-oh.
definitely.
And pouring one for Rain.
It's also gonna be the
I'm
only
sure he
wine
can
glass he's
handle
gonna
it.
have.
Oh yeah.
Roll me a perception check, Rain. Possibly also Castalia, she's close enough. Castalia?
Hmm?
Perception check, please.
Oh, sorry.
You alright?
Just lost in my own thoughts for a little bit.
Okay.
4.
Okay then. Rain, he seemed to have slipped something in his mouth, but you don't know. You couldn't really make it out.
I'll ask about it later.
Yes.
That's a problem for future Rain.
Please, please. At this point, sir, you brought my daughter back to me alive and well, along with some of her best friends. I feel it's time, but some of the formality must go away. He speaks, of course, in a completely formal manner, just like you, Cornelius.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But this is of course we know the difference, but the rest, yeah, it's just the same. It's the
This is
same fucking noble
this is a
bullshit.
well-known nobility game of chicken you're presenting here. The case of
Yeah.
yes, we both know we should be speaking on casual terms as friends that we are, but who's going to be the one who cracks first and disgraces himself by acting in a casual manner in this casual dinner between friends? The dance begins, Sarah.
And I shall be the one laughing at the end.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Though, I believe I should say a word first, though, as Lazul gets up on his chair. For we are now, at the moment, all friends. Even you, sir, as he nods off to Cargrim, who grunts back through his beer. And there are things that friends must know about each other and must make sure that things don't happen certain ways. For example, I've come to you all. You do notice he is speaking in an entirely different voice, too. Like, he's not doing his little raspy act or anything like that, or too much bravado. And he's standing up a lot more, sort of, full height and all that there. For you saved my people. You saved one of the great starters of our tribe, Zarzul the Mighty. So many of my boys have come back alive. So many women. You have kept that mine safe. You have slaughtered foul creatures that they gave great explanations of. And you did it all for 50 gold apiece. My friends, you must understand that your labor is to be valued. You cannot go through this world being taken advantage of in such gruesome ways. Your labor will be properly rewarded, but I must give you, as a friend, a warning against just accepting deals like this without forethought. Yes, what? It was gracious of you, it was generous, but it was far too much so.
Just 1 second, I just want to... is it... Yeah, just want to see with a deception check if Cornelius can avoid looking with complete stone face at Redenbach when he says this. He cannot. He is. It looks. It is a very stony experience.
He's
expression
incensed
he
by
has.
it.
Yeah, I'm also looking at Cornelius.
It is not so. It is not so much.
Oh, woman Cornelius'
What do you mean?
fault.
Yeah. This is the kobold and the tiefling's fault.
Oh. I'm sorry, I got so used to this being Cornelius' fault.
Well, it is
Don't worry,
Cornelius and
more things
Entourage.
fault here.
Yeah.
Rainey's looking really amused right now.
Surely Cornelius, being the one with his name in front, is the one in charge of the group's decision-making.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not just directing it at you, Cornelius. He is looking down the
Yeah.
group as well. And for a reward that great, fine gifts will be given upon you all, once ascertained, of course. A wish from all of you. I just thought I'd say this, but I must implore you from now on, whenever you make agreements and deals, please value yourselves.
Yeah, Cornelius is just gonna look down at the rest of the party. Yes, I'm certain that will happen in the future. Thank you very much for your kind consideration, sir.
And furthermore, when renting a property, be sure to walk inside and check it out.
Okay, that one I take full blame for, though. Rain still has some part of it. She could have spoken up.
She just kind of shrugs. My dad
No,
wasn't a real estate
no.
agent.
That wasn't
Yeah,
actually
no,
said.
no.
I know. I know. Just still. Like, my dad wasn't a real estate agent. He was a fucking merchant.
Yeah, you only come from a family of merchants. How would you know
Yeah.
about good deals?
It's not real estate.
He settles back. The soup service is brought out first. And there is some light chatter and whatnot, some small tokens of topics. Cargrim's grumbling at you, Malgern.
I pretend not to notice.
You like what they did with the tunnels?
Oh, okay. He actually is trying to. I just kind of shake my head. No,
How come?
they ruined it.
No, they didn't. You think just
Excuse
because of dwarves on the wall that means it's a good thing, huh?
I would assume so. Yes.
Nah, lad. Trust me, there, it's a better thing they did to the face foes. Also, tilt your head
Yeah.
back. You're getting too much of it in your beard.
Straighten my beard.
Don't follow the advice. Just straighten the beard. Don't tilt the head back.
Oh, I did. I tilt the head back, and then I have a button for this. Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Don't make a fool of yourself now.
They made it better, and I'm looking at him very puzzled now.
Aye, well, there's an efficiency to it. It's more about it not being a dwarf mine anymore.
Uh, it could be again.
No.
I mean, Malgern's not sure how to respond. Like, he's still fuming. Like, why couldn't it? I mean, we can do it better than they can. I've seen what we can do.
I've seen a lot of what we can do. Don't much like it.
What kind of dwarf are you?
Remember when I asked you what clan you're with, boy?
Yes, very vividly.
Aye, I'm the same answer. And that's for the best.
Wait, only he's from the same clan?
No, he's from no clan.
No clan? Okay.
That was the answer you gave as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's better in their hands here.
On that, I think we'll have to disagree.
Been full to you, lad. Here, give me a cracker.
I kind of lazily give him one.
Salt.
Yeah.
Pepper.
More macaroni.
Here, take this salt back.
More cheese.
What was that one Scotch skit that gets played on New Year's every time?
Oh, the 90 years birthday.
Yeah, it's something like more wine, isn't it? Where he has to come from across the whole table.
Yeah, it's every time he has to serve the same procedures last year, and yeah, it's usually different kind of drinks depending on what the meal
Yeah.
they're at.
All right.
Start
no-
off with white, and then
Just know it's always a long distance travel.
yeah, because you also always have to go up to the lady and ask, "Should I serve the wine?" And I think we'll have sherry.
But yes, any conversation points the party want to put forward. Because we've run up to the same issue that we had in the Saltmarsh one, of course, where this is a great chance to ask questions. This is a great chance to fill in your own knowledge.
Well, first of all, since this is still in the kind of a small chatter, gotta ask Helvetica how one of the other knights are doing, the one that seemed the most distressed. After asking how she's doing after the whole endeavor.
After the deathmatch games. Yes, well, I've heard it's going well. Not a whole lot of conversation about it, as you might imagine, of course. But last I've heard, some of the symbols are fading. They're responding better to treatment. And I'm managing to keep up in my drills again. Looking to get out there again soon. It's just hadn't been confronted with that kind of thing before.
Really, ever a pleasant first experience.
Now, an opponent with a weapon is one thing, but the Tanarooks, I think it is. They just tore through us. I lost 3 horses in a few spell swoops, and it's a blow to the confidence.
It's one you should say. No, I suppose it's difficult when once you're missing the horse to get back on said horse again.
Then there's you just charging right up in front of him.
Well, sometimes you cannot always pick the most sensible options. Sometimes you must do the less sensible and take them by surprise, I suppose.
Take a long time to get to a boast.
Not a boast. Just the unfortunate truth of a situation at times.
And you look down the table, trying to feel a little less awkward as you see Droop stretch himself across to get the salt shaker.
Oh no.
Nope. Nope. What do we do?
I'll get it for you. Okay.
No, Droop. Droop. You're invited here. You're a guest here.
That's a first.
What? True. But what we do is we ask for it to the one who sits next to them.
Okay. See Horizon react to getting a tug on his sleeve. Yes, of course. No problems at all. So, will you be going back out there soon?
Well, probably not at the very moment, but there are some things we have some plans for. However, there are still some things we need to acquire some information on.
So you'll be in town for a bit?
I suppose so. Unless something of extreme importance require our immediate attention, then I do not see that we are going to be leaving town at this very moment.
I was just wondering. I am getting back on the horse in a literal sense. You always have to keep a few because, of course, if they get tired or broken, it's hard to keep attachments there. But I was just wondering if you'd like a few riding tips.
I suppose that would not be too bad.
It's alright, I won't put a lance in your arm just yet.
Well, certainly appreciate the gesture. After all, it's going to be difficult to cast spell with what holds an allocated pole in their arms.
Oh, you smooth
Rain-
talker, you.
Rain is trying not to die.
She's just
Is she
stuffing
succeeding?
bread rolls into her
Hold
mouth.
on. Let me find out if she succeeds in trying not to die. Hold
Is it
on.
It's like the comedic fist eating scene, except she's just pushing a bread roll deeper into her elongated jaw.
She is managing to stone face the fuck out of this.
But inside.
Well, we have a few but need to get used to riders, so that'll be good. Then we chat as well.
Oh yeah, by the way, that reminds me for a question I was thinking about. It was about writing spells. Although I guess it could also wait till after the session.
Go ahead, it'll give these guys time to think about what they want to talk about.
Well, I was basically if I could give a reasonable reason for creating one of these spells. If I can take one that is just from the list and then pay the fee for making it, or if there's some extra thing I have to do, or if I actually have to find a scroll to set magic.
No, if you want to do some self-experimentation yourself, it'll be a case of it might double or triple the cost, and it'll take a little bit longer.
Okay, yeah, because I was actually considering with her inviting him for writing lessons, about start writing a spell for creating I think it's create steed or something.
Ah, okay. I thought you were saying about editing spells. No. In the case of that
No.
sort of thing, you will need to find the scroll to copy or
Okay.
a spell book.
Yeah.
I thought you were just saying like turning firebolt into ice bolt, that kind of thing.
Oh no, like if I wanted to form one on the
But you
list,
know,
this
there
thing
does
was-
happen to be a few stores in town, some of which have great conversation pieces that may have a scroll or two in them.
Yeah. I just wanted to know if there was somehow I could do it.
Is it? As long as it's on the wizard spell list, you just gotta find the scroll or the spell book that has it.
Okay. Yeah, that was all I just wanted.
Also, patients might know something about where good scrolls can be found.
Maybe.
Just don't tell her what you intend to use it for.
Yeah, does he bring that up? Yeah. There's another girl.
Well,
I'd like to know how to find
Well-
Steed to impress a girl. What's that face you're making?
Yeah.
No, you don't
don't
understand. She's
forget-
quite wealthy.
yeah. Also, don't forget, this is also the part of showing off the usefulness of having a wizard school.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to run out of horses. Hey, I can magic up a horse for people to train on.
This is great.
Yep. So, anyone else got a chat topic they'd like to go through? Keep in mind, I did bring up stuff like this here before. And also, let's see here. So, we've got 5 of you. Who's the first victim? Oh, what a surprise.
What?
Helvetica gives you a slight nudge, Cornelius.
Oh.
It's time to be the entertainment.
Aww.
Yeah, says Murloff just... But yes, I mean, we already know of your current deeds, but what have you done? Do you know anything great of the world beyond?
The world beyond,
Do
you
you
say?
have a previous exploit of which you want to express, sir? Seeing your blank face, he goes, or any great story of the coast. It's been a long time since I've made the travel there.
Heroes of Van
Well-
Dalen.
Well,
You can go see my exploits every matinee.
yeah,
2
he's not
silver
gonna
per
mention it.
adult. 15 copper for a child.
Malgurn kind of just mouthing, yeah, mine too. Yeah, it's just-
Well, I must say that to some degree that at least during my lifetime, the life outside of Neverwinter has been relatively calm. Though I suppose there was the time back at the old Wizard Academy when I was assigned there. There was quite the incident right there. You see, it made a bit of a kerfuffle because, okay, so it kind of started out. I had an alchemy assignment. I must admit, not the one that I'm the most used to. I'm more to the arcane magics. Not much of a chef myself, as it is. And I had been assigned school prefect for the week. But I also had my duties to make some of the experiments for the test tomorrow, so I was busy doing that. I had set the cauldron over, I was adding the ingredients, when I started hearing noises from outside the door to the dorm. Now, of course, it was way past curfew, so I was wondering what that was. So I went out to the door and I saw 3 of the older students who were sneaking through the hallways. Now, of course, it is not usually a good idea to start asking too many questions of them. So I started following them. Oh, by the way, this is kind of the story that I had prepared. So if this is kind of what it gets to, you had an idea of, just say now.
No, keep going.
Okay.
Bonus points for anyone who riffs on it. No, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Now the three students were kind of known to be the ones who were kind of getting through classes just through the name of their family, then through the results.
Of course, such a thing is traditionally accepted, but there are families and then there are families.
Mm-hmm. I still remember the long-haired Timothy Hethronway, the slight pudgy Gabby Stelstrom, and, well, for their kind of rather old student, the Bandy Gulgurm, a gnomish sort with just a hint of a beard. So I started just casually to follow them to see what it was they were up to. Perhaps they had just spent too much time in the library and were just heading back to the dorm, but as they went past, that soon showed to be not to be the case. And they were starting to head towards the headmaster's office. That's when they started to do something to the door. It seemed to be that they were trying to dispel one of the arcane's luck that the headmasters usually always put there. And of course they fools they were, and rather poor students that they were, it of course backfired. But it was not only did it backfire massively, it apparently turns out that one of the students were not what they said they were, because a massive dispel went off from the door, And it turns out one of them was, I was told later on, a homunculi. And turns out to be the gnome that suddenly grew twice his size, started freaking out and attacking the rest of the students. Now, of course, as they were being pugilized by this creature, I ran out to get some help. And it was fortunately taken care of. But of course, as you might... And fortunately, the students made it, but not without some physical trauma. Now, of course, with all of this happening this night, and me having to explain the situation to the rest of the not prefect, what is it called? What's it called? The teachers, the faculty.
Yeah, faculty.
Yeah, the faculty that was there, explaining them the whole story. That's when I went back to my dorm and to my room, and I have, of course, I'd completely forgotten about the alchemy, the experiment that I was doing, and that was now on fire, and the smoke was now turning the ceiling into mushrooms.
My word, things really escalate when it comes to you casting types, isn't it?
Well, as much as an eventful day it was, I somehow still managed to salvage it and get an A- the next day.
He never lived over the shame.
Yeah. So I suppose you could say that was perhaps a start of all this. I'm sure you have already heard about the events in Fandelva that kind of got us sent up here.
Helvetica gives you a smile, and she just says quietly, "It was a great show." I'll have to ask you about Frida later.
Unfortunately, I know just about as much as you do. I also say with a smile.
And now the rest of the party, I imagine, look a little worried because I asked them the right anecdotes, and they probably were not expecting that kind of length.
I have one.
Sounds to me like someone just volunteered.
Yes, I figured I would get myself out of the way because I'm a smart cookie.
But too bad, we're doing it by Russian roulette. Who's next? Malgern!
He's been fretting about this for the past week.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I asked you to do this like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, but then you kept canceling the session, and that made it worse.
You should have had this done before the session happens, though.
Oh, he's had one. It's just he's been fretting about doing it.
It's like a school project.
That's all right.
I hate.
Get up. There you go. Under the spotlight. Stand there. Everyone quiet. Every word of his will have to be heard now.
Oh God, the lights are making my nose bleed. There's blood in my mucus.
Alright, let's hear one from you, lad. Gotta have something underneath that beard.
Yeah, you'll like this one too, because I saved the day. Entire mine, settlement, everything, just covered in goblins. They came out of the woodwork. See where I'm going with this? I'm the hero. Yeah. The goblins, they came everywhere, and everyone was rushing off to fight them, and I said, no, we can't rush forward because someone has to protect this, and I pointed to the storeroom. And I went into the storeroom, but the goblins were already there.
Is it written in crayon?
No.
It's just the way he's presenting it compared to, an anecdote of, I protected the land, and you can just see him pulling it out of like a fucking parchment scrawled in crayon with doodles on it.
No, I mean I am being a little dramatic.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's just how I imagine it. Just like he pulls out the fucking parchment with crayons on it, and then pictures of goblins being hacked apart.
Yeah. And it was surrounded in goblins because nobody was looking behind us. And worst of all, they were drinking the booze. I fought them off. All of them. pretty easy fight. I think half of them were hammered, but they drank our booze, so they had to pay. And then just as I'd finished, the Mithril Guard, they come running in, and they stop because they were expecting goblins. But it was me, surrounded by slain goblins. They lifted me up, and they carried me out, and they were shouting, "Hero!" They didn't let me take the booze. I saved the booze, and they took me away. And he sits back down.
Inside check, everyone. Because you all know, Malgern.
Oh, no. See, the thing is, the goblins were easy to fight because they were already half drunk.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part he's not saying, yeah.
Also, do remember this was the time when he was a paladin.
Mm.
This
Possibly.
was right before. This was the attack. This was the whole folk hero attack, you know. But the whole
Wait, your
linchpin
background is folk hero?
It originally was, yeah.
The original one was.
Fucking hell.
My original one was, and this was the goblin attack was the event I was
Castalia
going with.
believes.
But what he's not telling everyone is, yeah, he slayed a bunch of goblins, yeah, because they were half wasted on booze.
Yep. About Cornelius.
Also, no, go ahead.
Cornelius knows the truth. He's looking at you and is putting two to go together. It wasn't because they were getting to the booze; they'd already gotten there. That's why it was easy.
Yeah. Also, did I tell you about the time I saved the pony? And he just kind of looks at Cornelius, sees him staring down. Oh. I wanted to tell the pony keg Vendelver story, but I don't think I should.
Go ahead.
The second time he saved the booze, and Cornelius laughed at me the whole way. He was just jealous.
How much of that does Rain believe?
Well, that actually happened. I did rescue a pony keg from the man.
No, the actual story.
There's a degree of suspicion. A little bit. But you imagine the body of it is true. It's just you're thinking of the circumstances. Like, maybe he left out some people. Maybe a couple of the goblins were blind.
I mean, they could have been. Who knows?
It just seems like one dwarf against a horde of goblins, tough as he is, might not have
the
gone...
entire horde, but we were surrounded.
Yeah, it might not have
They were
been
everywhere.
entirely that. Yeah.
We were surrounded on all sides.
Yeah.
Green skins closing in on us.
Like, he's trying to paint a picture
Rain
of...
just gives Horizon some side eye.
Because it's like he's trying to paint a picture of Neo against Agent Smith and the world.
Precisely, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. the Agent Smith sequence, yeah. And I was there.
Who's the next victim? Zarzul.
Okay. Zarzul is going to regale the tale of Maui, one of the firstborn kobolds. Yes. Maui went fishing with his brothers using his father's magic jawbone as his hook and pulled up the land. It was a great fight to drag this giant fish to the surface because the world was just ocean.
This
no
sounds
land.
familiar.
I know. You didn't say that to be an original story.
Is Disney going to get on you here?
No, because they copied it first.
That means nothing to them.
What can you say but you're welcome?
Yep.
You better at least have changed some of the words around and put it in your own handwriting. I'll allow it if you put a variation on it, otherwise sit the fuck down.
Well, when they finally got it to the surface, Maui said, "Wait, my brothers. I will go get my fish hook, and then we can carve this land up." And he went off and got his fish hook. And when he came back, he found his brothers had already carved huge chunks out of the fish and created the mountains and valleys that we see now. And that is how the land was shaped. I haven't actually seen the Disney version. I have no idea what they did.
I'm just surprised you didn't use like a New Zealand myth.
It
It
is.
is.
Is it New Zealand? Okay.
Yeah, Polynesian, Maori.
Yeah, I know it was Polynesian. I just didn't know New Zealand or not.
Yeah, I think it. I'm not even sure exactly where it's actually from, or whether it was created later. It's a bit hazy on that one.
The point is, your stream is now screwed. You're gonna get a strike.
All right, I blame Webcam.
Well, I mean, it's one of those cases of where a lot of those stories kind of float together. Like a lot of the like Scandinavian gods are actually more like old ancient German gods that the English monks would write in as being the Scandinavian gods, since they were very similar.
A lot of people just copied each other's homework and just changed the name. Yeah.
Like Vodin was the original name for Odin.
And of course, that big issue there is we don't even have like second or first account of religious texts. We just have the little fairy stories they told about them.
Yeah, all oral tales.
Yeah.
Or there were no texts to start with because basically it was all an oral history. So
Well, like we're saying, it was also a case of like we didn't get the religious teachings or anything like that there, if there was such a thing. It's just we get the stories about them, but people used to tell because it was entertaining. Okay, so right now in the listings, I think we know who's near the bottom.
Not
Unsurprisingly, it's the one who just went to Wikipedia to fulfill his assignment.
not last.
You didn't really work for Kobold Angle in it either.
that was the first burn Kobold.
Must try harder. Alrighty, it's a coin toss now between the ladies. It's Castalia.
All right.
So who's acquiring the story from her?
Well, in this case, it's one of the boar hens. But it's just a general, like, there is just a swirl of basic conversation going on here, but we really don't want to have to role play out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just some light chat, very comfortable.
This is the Cliff Notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll be here all day, which we could be.
You mean you don't want to do 4 introductions this session?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. How do you all show up? What is your appearance? How do you look? What is your height? What is your average weight? And how long are your toenails?
Roll for anal circumference.
Oh, God.
In your case, Malgern, that might come in useful. How much soil can he launch out of him? Like,
I tried to put the fancy sash and stuff in the armor. Yeah.
120 pounds. Wait, less than. I'm 5'4", 420 is pretty fucking big.
Anyway, it's Castalia's turn to tell a tale.
Yeah.
5'8" in heels, 128, nicely dressed.
128? Come on, even with the horns, that's a lie.
Oh, the horns are hollow. They're like a honeycomb. You know?
Ugh.
They enhance hearing.
They would have snapped.
Rena knows what animal I'm referencing.
Oh man, that is an angle, actually. Hollow horns that help them hear. Because if you carve enough, like if you get the right drills and all, considering they like the big connected eyebrow ridge horns for the official tieflings, if you get like basically a gnome to carve and detail through them, could you turn a tiefling's forehead into a flute?
Those are words, yes. Yeah.
Or they grow weirdly and you've got a didgeridoo growing out of your head. But yes, on you go, Castalia.
Well, I left my home, got traveling with the 423rd Shield Bearers. As an apprentice smith to my townsmith, who was asked to travel along. The time was rough, but it was a nice change of pace from just simply being stuck at home. As we neared the town at the end of the patrol, I said my goodbyes and started applying for work as a junior smith. I managed to pick in with a small dwarven regiment, returning home from one of their adventures, and followed them along. Not much to say, just banging out the dents and bends in their equipment. Very nice bunch. Though, I don't think they would have gotten along too well with Malgern, as they were actually very light drinkers. I managed to pick up a little bit of their tongue and kept going, so I spent a few years simply wandering in various mercenary companies. It wasn't very thrilling. I think the best story I could give was perhaps the time a griffin had descended into the camp, but even then everyone was already prepared for another encounter. But still, I could swing my hammer marginally well, but there was enough around to ensure no real injury was done. Not the most exciting, but I look back on it with, oh, a smile on my face. Met a lot of interesting people.
Yeah, I mean, it also shows the quality of her work. Dwarf was willing to take her repairs on.
Mm-hmm.
I just like how that is a tale of how I got here. I ignored a part where I embraced the dark powers for power.
This was after I embraced the dark powers.
We just leave that bit off.
Yeah.
It's only a modicum of human sacrifice.
We don't talk about the display of gummy owl bears in the forest.
And then we have Rain's story.
Oh, well, unfortunately, I'm not nearly as entertaining as the rest of my compatriots. However, we did have one instant when I was busy learning to be a cleric. I was just a fresh young cleric, and I was assigned to a much more skilled individual for some mentorship. And we'd gone down to a local crypt to do some basic rites. And unbeknownst to us, apparently somebody had gone in at some point and had enraged several of the formerly deceased individuals into rising from the grave. It was a very unpleasant experience. Fuck off. I can read that. But unfortunately, it was a truly unpleasant experience, and we didn't have time to go get any backup because we feared that if too many of them rose up, it could walk up into the nearby town, and of course we weren't going to be allowing that. My compatriot and I used all of our spells. We tried turning the undead. That was actually the first time I ever cast turn undead. I managed to destroy several of them. I was quite pleased with myself. We finally went through and we found out what apparently had happened was some wizard from one of the nearby colleges, I believe he'd been removed or something, I'm not quite sure, had taken up down in the lower levels of the crypt and fancied himself a necromancer. Thankfully, he was not that difficult to subdue, and we took him and had to bring him back up to the town guard of the city that we had just left. It was a little bit of an experience, but it wasn't too much trouble, just the first time I'd ever seen anything like that.
I'm sure the party is biting their tongues right now. The
It
moment
was
she
the first
started
time
with,
she ever saw multiple undeads.
yeah. Well, no, it's not there. It's the fact of there's not much to say in my past.
I said not much of interest. I'm not as interesting.
Well, I must say that is rather fascinating. It's happened a few times. There's been unquiet dead. Some of it has even been family members. There's quite a prestigious crypt just on the outer edge of the noble quarters. I must say there was a particularly strange time. The Rainhoff family, long gone now. Actually, their last member ended up only having a daughter. At which point the name was lost in a wedding, and they lacked child. Quite tragic, really, at that point. But yes, I remember quite explicitly. My grandfather, he was the one. Yes, quite old to be donning armor and heading off and all. But apparently, a group of them, mostly retired, of course, with only one of the church types with them. But they descended down into the crypt, and it was apparently a frightful affair. But all throughout the evening, there was music heard. I believe it's one of the yes, it's von Shetman. Yes, one of his ones. It was a waltz, but hard to place the exact one. It's been a while since I've had to tell this one, but yes, throughout the entire evening, while I was just a young boy, I could hear the music play throughout most of the city. In fact, that was quite a feat. When they emerged, there was a few faces missing, apparently. But my grandfather, he was a stern man, straight-faced at all times, but he didn't come out haunted. Instead, he came out jubilant. He was on his feet, grabbing at his partner and twirling, dancing with his squires, stepping through the streets and all. And he just seemed to have the greatest relief taken off him. Or the greatest burden taken off him. He was full of relief. They said he even went into the story of how they slew numbers of undead. There was these strange creatures, ghosts even challenged them, and they settled the spirits. The priest sent them all back to the afterlife where they deserve. But on their way back, they could not help themselves. They got caught up in the music, which started to fade for us. But he says he could still hear it clearly, and by morning, thankfully, it was gone, of course. But strange how he never really lost that lightness in his step for the rest of his years. He died just about a few years ago. But it seemed to affect him the most, I'll be honest. The others, they had a certain lightness too, a bit more of a pep. Certainly, as I fish for a random name on the list. Oh yeah, certainly the Haze. Came quite a scandal there whenever he seemed to have a reignition of life and desire. Quite a few milkmaids. A few scullery maids, one stable boy. And that was just the one evening, apparently. Yes, but an amazing night. He never really went into detail about it, though. He just kept on telling me about how he felt with the music.
I suppose there is some comfort in getting to know people from beyond, meeting them once again.
It's not something to be followed on much, though. I do believe your lady friend, Miss Rain, there will agree that the dead should be left in peace.
Most certainly.
They've lived their lives. It's time they go beyond to their rewards, or as
I
in
imagine,
cases, their
I
punishment.
imagine, as he said that, that's where Cornelius is just about to take a drink and just got about to choke on the wine.
No, I like to imagine it's a unified gesture, like all in synchronicity. The party all just take a glass of wine to sip to silence themselves.
Yeah.
The ball is mostly in the party's court. You've gone past the soups, through the mains.
Yeah.
It's still a lovely evening, though. Fresh wines, more cheese. The conversations are just generally sort of on the patter and pitter of the current war efforts. Nothing really fresh standing out to you guys. I mean, there is, of course, the talk about how the Azales have actually been taking the field somewhat. They have deployed in large groups, but then they tend to split away and stick with themselves. They don't mingle with the Cerules. They don't join the war effort. They seem to have their own goals. But they've certainly laid waste to quite a few raiding parties.
So I've noticed I was at one of the library temples recently, and I noticed more spellcasters have decided to show up in the city.
Well, it's no surprise, really, with the war continuing on.
Yeah, but that's also where I was starting to wonder. I don't think I have seen any official spellcasters of the Raxis city, except that of the clergy kind.
Well, no, of course there wouldn't be.
Yeah, so I was kind of wondering how come that could be. Usually, a city of your size and stature usually have a magical academy of some kind.
Well, we focus more on the directly practical and physical. I guess. There is an academy up north at no, not here, of course. I mean, by way of ship, over at the Catalai. They have an academy of learning, and I'm sure now and again they ship promising graduates and all down here. But I don't know. It's certainly not for Raxis, that sort of thing. I mean, in our royal court, we've had astronomers, we've had the alchemist currently, a potion brewer. Seems quite an expert in sorts. There's been entertainers before. A few holy men have held the position. Just how it's been, really.
Suppose it is. Just a mere observation for one such for one you are in the expertise, so to say. I assume you would also probably put the same question if you were in a town that only focused on scholarly pursuits and not on the knightly stature.
Would you like to roll insight on him?
Yeah.
Seems to be just open-faced about it. Like, you're getting the impression that he's trying not to show that he doesn't really know why.
Yeah, that's what I also figured from the way he was talking. He didn't try and, like, he was fumbling or...
It was just to make sure of it instead of just a possible weakness in performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I suppose you would. But now there's plenty of them walking the streets right now for coin. For well-paid jobs. Apparently it's putting a bit of a strain, of course, on the town guard. I mean, a few of them get drunk and all kinds of things can occur in a pub. I mean, if some heavy-handed thug gets drunk and takes a dislike to you, you might wind up with a split lip or a black eye, but no offense, if one of your sort go off the handle, well, the whole bar could be gone the next morning.
Mm.
And I mean, if they don't have their wands or their orbs upon them, well, how can you really tell them apart from normal folk?
They usually have a certain standard about them.
The beard. If his beard touches his ankles, he's either a dwarf or a wizard.
How do you know
Sometimes
he's not both?
Yeah, sometimes both.
Well, you don't have to worry then, because if he's a dwarf wizard, he can handle his booze. Well, yes, it's all a little strange to see him in such numbers.
Well, I guess we're like we were taught in the academy. The natural forces and the weave abhor a vacuum, and if that happens, it tends to fill itself out.
Or to put it more simply, there's good money in mercenary work.
Yeah.
Like, he's not taking it all by your fancy metaphor and soliloquies. No, he knows it.
Yeah, but Cornelius himself would never stoop to thinking as a wizard as mercenary work. That's a service.
What are you currently doing?
Performing a service. No, not that kind. I'm not slipping down my pants. It's not that kind of hired adventure.
So what you're saying is you're not a bard.
Yeah.
Or a rogue who really needs to get that gem, but is not confident about not being searched on the way out. And of course we have a swell of the faithful. And honestly, with some of the strange creatures that the orcs have been mingling with, I'm well proud to have them.
Yes,
He looks a little expectantly at Rain there.
She's. So I was actually drinking my soda, so I had a mouthful. And she muses over a little bit and just goes, going out there on the several times, I have noticed what they've been coming up with. And I must admit, I'm not much thrilled to see that they're mixing with demons.
Yes, I can't believe infernal blood mingling with the orcs. I mean, to a degree, that's acceptable among certain people. He has a wary glance over Castalia. But to have it running rampant so in their already savage minds. Terrifying prospect, certainly the results of it. And then the Revisa.
I was going to mention, we did interrupt one of their summonings, thankfully. And not just I just threw with it, Helvetica, but we had a separate incident. It appears that it is very well widespread within both the orc ranks and then the other human friends that they have made.
My gods. Makes one wonder why you even get up in the morning,
Not to put a stop to their nonsense.
Yes, indeed. But to think it's a practice they can just engage in. You hear stories that it takes a conjunction of the moons, a certain time of season, or even trying to play along certain strikes in the weave along the land. They just seem to be able to set it up, huh? Bit of blood and some stone, and then they might have something coming out of it. Takes years to make a knight. To raise a proud noble-born. Teach them the importance of swinging a weapon around. The value of armor and faith. And they only need, apparently, an afternoon. Disheartening, I say. It is disheartening.
Well, it is not, from what we have witnessed, not quite as simple. It seems to be, in these lands, there are certain points of such gateways. I do not believe that the place we ran across, as Lady Rain was mentioning, that was not one that was recently created. That was an old point. That's what we were told, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that I actually remembered it correctly. Of course, some of the ritual signing there were more recent, but the places themselves were old, ancient.
Bloody horrible to think, Vin. Demonic taint on our land. I'd expect that up north, of course. Hellish place that was. No doubt still is. How about the three quiet ones in the back? Anything you want to chip in on?
I don't think I'm sort of in the right place to start asking questions about what happened to the royalty around here.
There are other questions you could ask. You don't just have to have one.
What happened to the dragons? That sounds like a fun one as well.
It's up to you. Just remember there are consequences one way or another.
So I've got one of the brides on one side. What's on the other side of me?
Nothing. Until you get a little bit further down the table and you have two dwarves.
Okay.
But I mean, across the table is most of the rest of the party. Like, you're not that far down or isolated.
I'm not too sure if I want to bring out the dragon cult at all. That's the thing.
How about Castalia Malgern? Anything you want to talk about, direct, point out? It's not just your chance to ask the Boarhens, but also Lazul.
Yeah, his gift was that we all got a wish, right, from him.
Yeah,
Like a
basically
request.
bequeath things upon you.
Yeah,
But he is just going to give you proper payment. As he shows a great concern that his now friends, loyal friends, are not valuing themselves correctly.
Rain just finds that whole situation very amusing.
Although, Cornelius, you do think back to Yobby's clipboard. The gift he may give you might be smaller than the others.
what compared to Malgern?
I said compared to
because
others
of
as opposed to him.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I
His
forgot.
will be the tiniest of all.
Yeah, I forgot about the whole naming thing.
It'll just be a post that says "You helped yourself." But yeah, you two, anything you want to bring up, point out? It's been weeks in the making, this.
Yeah, just go ahead and ask about the. Like, you don't have to blatantly ask about the dragons.
There are other things,
You
too.
can work. Yeah.
You don't want to leave everything up to the wizards.
You know what happened when it's all the wizards.
Yeah, we buy a house.
Well, it is listed as a house, but it is assigned as a fest hall.
Zazul's going to try and ask about why so much of the even recent history seems to have been removed from the libraries and stuff.
It goes quiet. There is...
Yeah.
It's... Quiet is dampened a little bit by Karagrim having a quiet chuckle before easing back a goblet. But as for Borhen and Lazul, they just look confused. So the history has been What do you mean, young sir?
When we were trying to find out various things about this city and such, we found glaring holes in what we could actually have a look at.
Well, what are the holes in? I mean, my family has lived here for generations, sir.
Well, I think that's kind of what my friend Sarsul here is mentioning. Like many others, I usually try to, when I come to a city that I have to be here for a while, I try to learn a little bit, just so I don't get completely caught on flat foot when asked to about certain events or such, about some people. So at least have some understanding of what is happening. But here it seems like most books that we have come across seems to be just names. When they were, and not much about their deeds.
Oh, well, for that you'd have to... I mean... We do have the knightly order, sir. The majority of our deeds are known in the order.
Oh, yes, of course, in the order.
But, I mean, they are shared out to the public as well in the form of, their recitals, performances. It's important for a knight to record their deeds and then to do them in a way that is beneficial to the soul. One can't just recount a fight on a bluff. No, it must be impressive. It must have some meaning to it. Why,
So
sir,
what
even
you're
the
saying
dance,
is,
even the dance you attended before, that was of a great cavalry charge about 250 years ago, I believe.
Oh.
Yes, part of my great family history. Before we actually made the move here to the Raxis city itself, for a while my family just operated out of the small hamlet of Boarside.
please do go on.
Oh, I mean, what more is there to say, sir?
Well, like, what made you come to here? Like, how did you manage to establish yourself?
Well, you've just answered it there. In order to establish oneself, you have to move to the capital. I mean, it's one thing to run a lovely little bit of civilization, and there were brave sorts in that town. But it's still just a case of it's far from the seat of the castle. Far from casual interests. I mean, it's many days' ride up. How do you bend the ear of those who are movers and shakers, sir? A little tough to do it by pigeon.
Suppose there's some truth to that. Perhaps it's also just me being. Perhaps it's just my. It is just me as from Neverwinter. Perhaps it is just me having certain expectations.
Are you sure
how
it's you?
certain things are- Well, it's Cornelius' way of being diplomatic.
Yeah. You've said it about 5 times now. I'm pretty sure it's you. But it could be a doppelganger. Malgurn, hit him.
No, it's a part
Yeah,
of.
no, I'm good.
It's the part of. No, it's basically about. I suppose I'm just more. I suppose it just comes from the background of when having to look up certain people finding great tomes about just about everything they did.
Yes,
just
well,
from
admittedly,
themselves.
there hasn't been much of that in recent generations. Not a whole lot. I mean, but sure, there are still great mentions of the hero himself, Imam Sophet. And of course, to Zarzul the Great, our family will not forget his deeds.
We didn't find any mention of Zarzul in the library, did we? Only in the Kobold House.
Only in Kobold House.
Zarzul the Mighty seems to be only remembered in one area of the town now.
Yes, that is to the disgrace of our people. I'll freely admit that, of course. There was proposals for a statue or two, memorial plaque. Even one of the taverns wished to memorialize him, but there were a few issues there, mostly babbling and pedantism over red tape and such, like the fact he's still alive, whereas Ermom passed away not too long after his success. And of course, foes didn't want to be associated with brave draconic friends. Saw them as a lesser race, which is disgusting, I'll say. But they were also the greater voices. I have paid quite a fee to, well, I say myself, my family, my great-grandfather himself, commissioned a few of Sir Venenbach's greatest artists on the wall. It's down in one of the halls, actually. A recreation of the events.
I must go and have a look. Would be interesting.
Well, if you wish, sir, yes. Montra? Montra, yes. Show the young man to the Zarzul Emporium.
Thank you.
If anyone wishes to go, feel free.
Cornelius would really love to go.
That is not Rain's sort of thing.
I'm sure there'll be other chances for you to be here and have a
Yeah.
look at the Zarzul Emporium.
Are you sure about
How-
that?
How
Maybe.
bored? How bored is Kogratz looking?
He's just helping himself. He's getting his calorie fulfillment. Like everyone else might have been, like probably not Malgern. You know, you're delicate with your plates. He always had a second plate.
Yeah, would Malgern actually want an excuse to leave so he doesn't have to sit next to Kerrigan, or is he also taking his fill? Raider.
There's food. Free food.
You've got your
Lots
answer.
of free food.
Yeah.
You could probably put it in a bag and strap it around his mouth and he'd be happy.
So you say animals use these? And it's called a feed bag? This is fucking awesome.
Yes, this is one of those things for animals that is alright for people to use.
You also put booze in these?
I mean, it's...
And that's when he brings out the helmet.
Yes, the helmet with tankards welded to it with straws leading down to the mouth.
God damn it.
Oh,
No.
does Cornhole want to leave?
Yeah. He doesn't, because this is the kind of his thing, but he also kind of want to see this thing just to see if he can pick up a few more puzzle pieces. Because this is, after all, something that might illuminate some stuff that Zarzul might not be understanding about. Who knows what's there? Hmm. You know, I'm quite curious about the kobold history here myself. I think I could use a little bit of stretch in my legs, if you mind me excuse me for a little.
Oh, certainly, certainly, sir.
Sure, I'll be back later. Unless it's... Depending, of course, how much of interest is there. You know us wizards, we do have a tendency to get invested in interesting things.
And he was never heard from again.
He says with a wink.
Yeah. He's the
Brain
pride
is
of our
again
people,
trying
sir.
not to laugh.
He's the pride of our people, sir.
And I can see, and after what we saw in the mines, I can certainly understand why.
So that's those two settled. Anyone else?
Now it's up to you to talk to these people.
Oh, I see what you did, you son of a bitch.
Yes, Cornelius and Zarzul, you're led through a few more rooms, halls. It's quite a cavernous place, this. And you emerge to familiar imagery for you, Zarzul. The majority of it is nigh identical to what you saw in Cobalt House.
Okay.
But there are a few bits that are earlier, before his time in Raxis. You indeed get to see a representation of the great feathered dragon that he fought on the roof of a palace. You can also see some of its extra servants, and a few of the chipped-in bits of the people he was traveling with as well.
Okay.
And you do see a few interesting elements to it. For one thing, the followers of the dragon, all uniform. Robes, blades, masks.
How familiar are those masks looking?
Well, they're scrawled in by kobolds, but they have a draconic aesthetic to them.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be able to say it's a 1-to-1 with the ones we found.
It's also a little hard to focus on that because lower down there is a fantastically detailed depiction of Zarzul's after party. Where you can
Excellent.
see and then further onto the side, you can see some more of his travels. Certain oddities. Like the entrance to what looks to be, after you examine some of the etchings and related imagery to it, the entrance to a great dwarven stronghold, but it's at the tip top of a mountain, as opposed to the base. Well, it seems to be a place that is continually buried in snow. You also see another creature, draconic in nature, but you also see Zarzul and Ermom Soffit. You recognize the colors and the gear. It's a lovely little free panel story. It shows the two of them fighting. It shows them fighting a draconic-looking creature, although strangely proportioned. And then the third one is them fighting again. It does not establish who wins.
Well, like we also found out, the dragon wasn't defeated.
Oh, no, this is before Raxis.
Ah, so this is how they met, basically.
Yeah. Like, you can tell, like, whenever he told the story and all, like, the Feather Dragon was before he got to Raxis. He traveled, from Jurat to Raxis. And then there's one more big art panel, and it is Zarzul and a few other figures, different from the ones on the palace rooftop. But there is a swarm of bats and strange creatures, hunched, too tall to be human, brandishing great weapons, and a figure silhouetted against a moon. But as said, the rest of it is generally the same imagery. It's in better detail, and it also left off the part with Patience being, Patience being part of what added the rock to Cobalt House.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Lazul is not as prominent in the imagery. Like
To
you can
be
see here
expected.
clearly, he's in the crowd with the kobolds chanting and cheering on Zarzul. But you notice he's in, like, Zarzul is in place of a few spots that Lazul was the prominence of in Cobalt House.
That was to be expected.
So while they're investigating this, how about you guys?
I'm waiting.
Your
Or-
prince.
I'm more joking. I'm looking over at the dwarf.
Dwarf's hungry.
I cast a level 7 misery spell by asking them about the latest fashion.
Wow.
Oh God.
You get information you already knew. Because you got a full rundown of this when you were getting your fancy outfits.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's less misery and more, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like how
Rain will.
if a woman has one long glove in formal occasions to represent armor.
When in actuality, it was somebody forgot a glove and then had to bullshit it.
They only had one nice looking glove. The other one was too crumpled looking.
But I guess Rain will comment. I don't know.
Would she though?
Never mind.
Shall we
I forgot what I was going to
shall
say.
we just end the evening?
Sure. I forgot what I was going to say because I was going to comment about the sewer system and see if they knew anything about like the whole fucking teapot thing, but without saying about the teapot thing.
You can go.
Oh, you want to talk about the toy maker?
Without talking about the toy maker.
Well, I have an excellent excuse if you want to use it.
Go on.
You could pull the lady at a function's excuse and say you must powder your nose with Castalia accompanying you.
Yeah.
The best part is this leaves Malgern at the table as the only active party member.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's what sold her.
Yes, we're doing that.
Unfortunately, Cornelius is missing out on his best opportunity because Horizon has started to talk about the wine. Incidentally, Rain, he has had a few glasses and is perfectly fine.
She's figuring he had something to make himself not drunk. So yeah, Rain would make her excuses to go to the powder room and probably drag Castalia along.
Just by the tail,
Alright.
the chair screeching. Oh, all right. Because Kagratz gets back into his dish, trying not to make eye contact too much.
Okay, is this when Zarzul and Cornelius get back?
Nope.
Actually, should I be doing any like history or investigation to see if I can find out anything extra from what we seen?
Potentially. But you've got to tell me what you're thinking of doing.
You can't just roll because he's mean like that.
Because I want you to
Well, I
actually
guess-
do something to warrant the roll.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope, just
I
roll
guess
dice.
it's just more like from the display, like you said, some of the items. If there's something that I can gather from the items and from we know of, like the dragon cult and such here. Like if there's a connection between what we see on there, if it's just happened to be a coincidence that he just dealt with another dragon cult.
Roll me an investigation. There we go. You bring up one of your big gems to have a look. Like, it is lacking detail because it's Kobold cave art, but put on a beautiful wall. There is a few things catching your eye, though. Like the oddly proportioned dragon in the mountain picture. Like the other ones, there's a little, like, what's the right sort of word for it? Lip service to detail. Like, they don't go into detail on the scales or anything like a full pattern, but they, separate out some of the feathers. On this thing, though, you see that there are lines on it, but they're haphazard. Like it's made of many pieces. You also see that there is a little more to the cave painting than you, or the mountain painting than you thought at first. Mainly just because there's a little bit of furniture in the way. You know, a little tapestry, a little dust cover, a little shroud. There are a few more small figures with that same kind of uniform to them of robes and mask.
Is the mountain kind of supposed to represent where the mine is now? Or is it supposed to be somewhere else in the world?
Well, the mine itself isn't in the mountains.
Oh, it's like in hill country.
Yeah. And this
Does
one is...
Does Zazzle recognize this mountain from any descriptions or things he's seen already?
It looks like a lot of mountains you've heard of. It's kind of got...
it's tall.
It's kind of got that peak to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you'd look at that and think, I know that mountain. But you don't know that mountain. It's like a mountain you know.
Okay, it's average mountain.
It's a mountain that I used to know.
But it does have the element of the very high entrance and what looks like a carven stairway down it. Now that you really take in the details, like there's a jaggedness to its edge. But seems intentional, not just rough artwork. So you'd figure you'd spot that.
Okay, if I see this mountain again, I'll recognize it. Excellent. Well, if I see the front of this mountain again, I'll recognize it. Okay. From behind, I'd have no idea.
Yeah, only if you see the peaks in the specific direction, yes.
Yeah.
Is there... I'm assuming we've got a person watching us, as it were.
Not really. Montre stood at the door and let you guys in, then stepped out.
Okay. I'm going to ask Cornelius, do you want to be a bit more blatant and just basically ask about what happened to the royalty?
Well,
we can only get thrown out, or maybe worse, but still.
Well, I mean, his wife seemed to be very much familiar with why we're here, so I suppose it's just more whether Rennenbach is also, so to speak, in with all this, but
I think it's a reasonably safe thing on Rennenbach.
Well, you know what? I think the most safest part would be if you asked it.
So he could stay and say, "What were you saying? Get out!"
Well, it's more that
plausible deniability. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's more the part of if I start asking these questions, I have already noticed that I started making our host a little bit nervous. You, however, it seems more innocent.
Oh, this is...
As Sarzul thinks back to when he was sitting in the child section.
Yep, that sounds right. Throw Zazzle under bus. Excellent.
No, it's not throwing under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, if you're of course comfortable with this.
Okay, let's do this.
Otherwise, imagine once we start leaving the dinner table, like, well, I guess that's supposed to where how Corvus imagined the dinner is supposed to go, if it's just where it's only gonna be at the table, then it's all right. Dinner's over. Get out.
It could be dancing as well.
No, considering it's
I don't
just a
know.
few of them, it'll never get to that level. But it could
Okay.
it
cool.
could extend to a night of wine. But it could also just
Okay.
easily be, it's a lovely night. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Could you refresh my memory as well? Was it the orcs trying to get at the dragon cult where we found the mask thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Was
that
that
seems to be the
okay? We
But
might
in
want to
particular,
ask.
it was an orc shaman that had a very weird internal structure.
Okay,
Well-
so possibly not directly orcs.
Well, the biggest problem is that I don't think most of the family here knows a lot of their own history, except for what it sounds like mostly in their poetry.
Yeah,
So I suppose
yeah, I'm still worried about why half the history seems to be being erased, but never mind.
well, unfortunately, I think we might have to start looking up the poetry section. As much as I dread it, at least from the
The
reviews
children's
I've heard
section
from.
wasn't much help.
Mm.
Was it the poetry section you were looking at?
No, children's area. It was very
Yeah,
informative.
I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think that's going under the poetry section.
It was still more informative than the reference section.
I like how he's trying to pose it as I was doing research when he was just looking up animals.
He's a ranger. He's good at those
He was
sort of
trying
things,
to cover
right?
up the fact that he has no idea what walks on land.
Yep, tuna, great land mammal. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna have to be a little bit more blunt than I'd like to, but hey, these things happen.
All right, we have the boys. How about the girls here?
What is?
Yeah. Rain would pull Castalia off when they go to the bathroom and then mention how this might be a good chance to try to discuss the toy maker in a roundabout fashion.
How would we do it in a roundabout fashion?
You know,
Well,
with
we're
roundabouts.
here in the restroom.
Yeah, you get the feeling that's why she pulled you in here.
Yeah.
Well, we could just start with a general questioning of why the wizards vanished.
We could do that, but I think that might be disconnected from the toy maker.
But wasn't he a great wizard? Or was he after the wizards had left?
I mean, he was actually a rogue. He was actually a rogue fighter multi-class with 18 levels of each. But you know, that's just homebrew for you.
I thought it was an artificier, because
Oh.
that would really seem like his class.
Well, yeah, but that wouldn't be as blatant of a joke.
True.
Is this a joke to you?
I mean, right now it's shaping up quite nicely because we've got, oh, I really want to ask this sensitive question. And on the other side we've got, I want to ask this sensitive question. And in the middle we've got Malgern. Food.
Mm.
More wine.
Yes.
Yeah, Brett. Brett, if you're missing something to talk about, you could talk about how weird it was that in the dwarven mind, how if you just want to put it bluntly, the weird dragon cult you found down there, if it's like Malgern doesn't.
Oh, you
think
want to
about
throw
what it
him under the
means.
bus as well?
Yeah.
No,
Uh-huh.
just like it was talked
Yeah. No,
that's
this
just
is,
why we was missing.
no. I have something I might want to talk about, but go
Do
on.
it before they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so off
isn't
you go.
Cornelius doing something?
Yeah,
No,
and then Zarzul are gone.
Oh, you're not in the middle of something still? Okay, this is.
Well, we got Castalia and Rain talking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to interrupt anything. but
Okay,
yeah,
we'll
I had
continue
a,
with their scene then, but make sure
had
you
an
know what you're going
inkling
to
of
ask.
something I might want to start.
Good, think about it. All right, back to the ladies.
Well, one of the things that I was considering was we've come in here into the restroom. This is a rather impressive setup. which not a lot of cities have. So we could springboard off of who designed this sewer system.
Your shitter was lovely. Who put it in?
Well, we can use the fountain as a good
Yes,
basis
I
for
agree.
that. Mm,
And that can also springboard off on the wizard thing, because it's like, oh, we have all of these water elementals and things, but how was that achieved without a wizard school?
Yeah, it's basically just you're talking about the weird things you saw while taking care of the issues in the port district.
in the sewers as well, because we did go down there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
without pretending that you don't know the context of it.
Yeah.
And you could also be like, well, if they have figured out anything about it because you're curious. Yeah, you could do that.
Hmm.
So, who gets to ask questions first, or is Malgern going to actually think up something?
Well, it does have a little
Well,
time before we get back.
Yep.
Oh, so we're doing this? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm
You're
sitting.
the only one there right now, Hans.
Yeah, I'm still sitting next to Karagrim, right? He's still there.
Yep.
Gonna just lean to him. Earlier, when you said it's better this way, you didn't mean that, right?
Fucking
With
did.
Cobalt on the mine. How? How could you say such a thing? I don't.
I'll let you puzzle it out. Well, think about this now. Why would I be fine admitting I'm clanless? Why would I also be fine with the dwarves not holding the mine currently? Why would I happen to be quite fond of the kobolds here and the work they're doing? Should I go over that again?
So you've given up.
Nah. You've seen my trophy room, you know I have not fucking given up. Don't even try that.
Then what are you doing?
What I'm saying is, I'm in a position of knowing things that you're not. You're blindly supporting your race. I'm saying the ones in this local area are shit. Yes, a dwarven clan did hold this. I was even part of it for a bit. I don't want them having control of anything.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go look for my friends. They're in a library, right?
We're
Do
walking
you pay
back in.
attention?
Yeah. I do pay attention, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I'm going to-
he's so
I'm going to excuse myself.
Alright, and he walks into Valet's restroom.
Al?
This is the state of California, I'm allowed.
Fuck no, it's not the state of California. Not enough bad things are happening here. This is only going to get erased by about 16 different threats from all around it. Nothing compared to Florida.
You underestimate our power.
But yeah, if you ask, you'll be led and escorted to the same gallery room where where Cornelius and Zarzil are hanging out.
And they're looking at the painting or the mural.
oh, hey Mulgaren.
I have a question. How tall are these dragon worshipping people looking in the a mural? Are they human height or more dwarfish height?
It's an artistic depiction. I mean, most of the
Yeah.
time, Zarzul the Mighty is taller than them.
Yeah,
Okay, so it could
as we were
be
saying
either.
with total. So, what'd you guys find out?
Zazzle has done great things.
Yeah, apparently the dwarves around here haven't. Hear anything about that?
Not directly.
Karagrim says, they're shit. And he kind of mouths this,
Well, they might have had something to do with the dragon worshippers.
oh, jeez.
As he slides out his hammer, why'd you have to go and say that? Now I've got to beat you until you realize you're wrong.
Yeah, why were they worshipping dragons, Zarzul?
They're
Yeah.
very sexy.
Ah, stupid sexy dragonborn.
Well, we've got to remember that they're the ones who dug down into the dragon worshipping area.
Yeah, but then the kobolds took it over, right? So it's possible that not all their fault?
They'd only just got that far when they were attacked. It was already there when they got there.
And then Rain wishes she was there because she has things to comment. Fuck.
No, you must engage in girl talk.
Oh, you know Rain is not capable of that.
She could be if you tried.
Rena isn't capable of that either.
That's fair.
Zing.
I think we're going to have to go and ask slightly more direct questions about what happened to the royal family.
Oh. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Well. And that's
Continue.
what happened when I. Yeah, that's exactly what I anticipated would have happened.
Wait, what does that say? Or
Open assault.
okay.
Pitiful paw claw and open assault. 7 piercing, 27, 2 sneak.
Oh.
I'm saying 2020.
2020 sneak. Of course he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the hell did he get plus 14 on that mod?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, continue.
Fuck off.
So what
Unless-
exactly?
No,
why is there a budget
actually,
down?
new thought. That could be Pufflesworth dying. Orbinson rolled the 29.
Yeah.
Back to your scene.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So what exactly brought you down here all of a sudden, Michael?
I was talking with Karagrim. He seems less than pleased with the dwarves of this area. And says I blindly support things.
Oh, there could be very good reasons for that.
Look, we fight what is in the deep. We don't ally with it.
You do. The dwarves here mightn't.
Yeah, that sounds like perhaps Kerrigan is someone who we need to start. Kerrigan is someone who we need to ask a bit more direct questions about as well. Did notice him chuckling a little earlier when it was Sarsul when asking one of the questions, right?
Yep. It was about the edited history.
Yeah. I think that perhaps getting a bit closer friends with Kerrigan might not be a bad idea.
Well, you're better at these words than me, so knock yourself out.
Yeah, I like that. He looks at a dwarf as, we should ally with a dwarf. You'll help, right?
Yeah.
You have a problem, aren't you? You have a fucking problem with this situation. Because as it stands, Cornelius does not know what happened the last time you met him.
Oh, he was. Oh, right. It was just
Since apparently Castalia didn't tell the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna tell him. Fuck that.
You're not gonna be telling that you went ass over kettle when the fucking
Yeah,
hammer.
he flagellated me with his beard and everything. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, no.
You're welcome.
She's letting me save face. This is amazing.
Until it comes out later.
Yeah, it'll come up eventually. It's a ticking time bomb.
Well, I suppose there's also. Well, I might have said so in jest. I do believe we might also have been here for a little while longer than is polite. Curious glance at this mural. But it is certainly interesting, Malgern. And yeah, I think we're just hitting back at this point unless someone wants to add something else.
No, I think I'm good.
Yep.
I just wanted to see what you guys were up to and see if you could help me puzzle out what Karagorn was talking about.
Yeah, only so much as we might have an idea on that it might be referring to the whole dragon cult. That's about as
This
much.
is the first time
Malgern.
Malgern has heard all dwarves might not be good. Except for that one.
Which is strange, because
Not
he's
Malgern.
the bad one.
I'm not a bad dwarf.
I put my hat on top of Droop's stomach and summon a rat.
Hey. That was...
Hey. That's against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, but...
Hey, Geneva doesn't exist here.
Exactly, and I
It
had
does.
no-
It's a gnomish province.
Oh god, of course it is.
Called Geneva. The only way to it is catapult. Apparently that's actually established in some bit of lore somewhere. But there's a gnome city where they'd use the fucking transport and fucking robots. Remember that CG film? Yeah, you want to get to the upper floors? You get launched.
That's...
Because stairs are too boring. We have to innovate.
Yes.
Alright, so you guys are returning to the dining room. How about in the bathroom? How's that going?
I was about to say, did we sort out what we decided to do?
I don't know, did you?
If you have to ask the question, then no.
We're gonna just say that we saw the fountain and we're curious as to who designed it or
Okay.
how it works, stuff like that.
Bold bipolar.
All right, that's what we can go with. All right.
Yeah, basically just adding some question when you were doing your basically heroic deeds, adding an interesting story, basically.
Automated kobold crusher. What the fuck?
And so the party, gradually by themselves, return to the dining room. Cornelius, there is a pang of regret in you. As you realize, standing at the drinks table, there's Kagrat's Horizon, Murloff. They are having a wine contest. And you are watching as Kagrat's sort of swirls in his mouth, roughly, with a blindfold on. It's a red, and it's a white. Yeah, I'm getting grapes. Spring grapes. Yeah. You have never seen such an amateur before.
Yeah.
Not nearly enough bullshit.
Exactly. There's no flowery prose.
No imagination.
It's almost like he's just saying what's in his mouth.
Freddy can't even say which region it's from.
I mean, you walk up, you just mention that.
No, of course not. This is entertaining.
Just a bit more. I'll have a bit more. Grown
And
on
that's the part.
on a hill.
And that's the part where the other shoe falls, and it's like, oh, you're just getting yourself some. You find an excuse to get some wine, huh? You're not even spitting into the bucket.
Well, he also doesn't know that you spit into the bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice. Horizon and, of course, Murloff are having a little private snigger about this. Like, nothing too mean, but they also can see an amateur. And are very pleased that they found one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, yeah, another sip. It's wine. I'm out. And then he just sees the color of it with a sag on his shoulders. Well, not bad for a first time. All right. Very good attempt, my man. Very valiant. Yes, you kept charging on as you always do. Very good. He is very happy whenever he sees Castalia walk into the room and starts to meander himself over there. Away from the connoisseurs.
I would go back to meet with the connoisseurs.
You monster.
It's alright, he's not dealing with the elf, he wants the devil.
Good choice.
Depending. If you have a half-elf, there are small benefits to it, and downsides, like your mother-in-law may exist forever. But if you're with a tiefling, there is some part of their family tree that will always exist and may want to make a deal in future. But yes, things are a little bit more free-flowing. Callista is having a chat with Karagrim and Lazul. The spouses are kind of entertaining themselves.
Oh well. Zazul's going to wander over to Karagrim. He seems like the first person to upset. Okay. Hello, friends. I was just wondering. I haven't been able to find much information about what happened with all the royalty. Are there any survivors or anything?
You're asking a very tense little question there, one.
I figured.
Nah, there's protocols, there's rules, and all that there sort of shit for this.
Oh,
Well, no, I
I'm gonna
mean,
learn.
I remember last time you were here, do you remember the Baron showing up?
Yes, that was
Aye.
not a good time.
No, he was only allowed to show up due to official rules. Can't just walk in when you're on technically an opposing side because of the knightly orders. I myself am a little bit separate from that. I wear the Azale, but I am a personal friend of the Boarhens who are Cerule. As for the condition of the royal family, I mean, that's a very intriguing question for an outsider to be worried about.
Oh, that was one of the big holes in all the information we were trying when we started looking.
Oh, I'm not surprised. It's
Good.
recent. It's only a couple of months old.
But even the history before that?
Aye, well. There's a few bits and pieces that, it's not even so much the question of them, it's more the implications. See, what you're looking for are the after effects of something they definitely don't want to be known. But then that's any time you're on the winning side that won a little too well.
Okay.
You ever thought about up north, eh?
Yes, there's some nasty things going on up there.
Aye. You've seen them run around, yelling, stabbing, clawing, desperate for survival.
It almost seems a bit more than that.
Aye, what do you think they were a while ago?
Well, some of them were orcs.
No, not them. The twigheads.
Yes, we've seen the odd orc like that as well.
Aye, well. You're one of the few who have, in the last, let's run by about 100 years, about half me life.
And I'm
Now,
really
how
going to
often
regret
do...
this.
Now, if something's wandering around like a vicious animal, they tend to go far and wide, so why do you think it is that no one's seen one till now? Considering they were once our illustrious neighbours. And people still know the name of the place.
I'm also wondering why they're interested in the dragon cults.
That's one a little too far off the mark here. You're asking a separate one there.
Yes, there's a lot of things I would like to know, but probably will never get answers for.
No, you just know where to have to look. I mean, I certainly weren't around 300 years ago. I weren't around any year older than that either. You get my meaning?
Yeah, this is old history.
No, lad. I weren't old enough to be around then.
Yeah. I need to start looking for somebody older.
There you go.
Any idea who would be a good person to inquire about?
Well, sadly, I'd have to admit they'd be long of ear and longer of tooth.
I figured as much.
Not a lot of them left. Not around here. None of the noble families have that much blood in them.
Any idea who or where I should go? Should possibly find that one of such age.
Well, there's a few that keep on scribbling and writing. I knew one foolish sort. Used to do weapons training, teaching. Went on to do a few stage shows and then tried to combine the two.
Okay. Would that be in the city here?
Oh, aye. Aye, some of them don't leave, but then the age they get to, a few of them can't leave the house no more.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
As for the royalty, I mean, I can tell you this. There wouldn't be a problem if they were all dead.
Okay. Thank you.
But
information
No,
that's
as you just get, it's a bit. Each time you walk off thinking I've got my answers, he pulls you back to be more conspiratorial. No. You've got to understand how to play the game here. It's not just that simple here. Come on.
Okay. May I
This
ask?
guy doesn't want to haggle.
Uh, is there a name for the problem left?
Not a name, but a role.
Okay.
You see the problem. Oop. Drop my coin. So I want you to think about this, lad. If there were just an established king, then everything gets quiet. And a king needs a crown, and a crown needs to be given. He's looking at you to see if there's any understanding in your eyes.
I'm remembering the head priest has gone into hiding.
So you do, okay.
Why? Ye- Why would there be a problem with crowning if? Oh bloody hell! I don't understand human politics. It's all stupid.
The dwarf takes great offense at that.
Huh?
Well, it's not human politics when it's coming from him.
Yeah, but he's describing human politics, isn't he? Oh yes, he's. Oh dear. Sorry. Oh. Why
Alright,
couldn't it all just be
I can
like
see a bit of steam
kobolds?
coming out of you. Alright. I can see a wee bit of steam coming out from your sides of your head. There's a question there, I mean. You've got savages, you've got the uprising, you've got houses divided. A lot of that would be solved with one leading figure.
I don't think so. I think somebody's purposely decided to crumble the city and.
Yeah, that is the point I'm making, yes. He takes the wine glass off you.
I just got that.
Aye, but you've had enough for now. I need you to be able to probably Actually, hang on, where's the others? Nah, I'll work with you. You came up to me. I am pointing out that if there is one powerful figure in charge, it'd be all fine.
I don't think it would.
Off you go, lad. Off you go.
Zazzle sort of wanders away, confused as hell.
It's going to be interesting to get the information from Zarzul, isn't it?
I would have thought one of the party would have at least come with me.
You'd think, but no. You should have asked. You should have communicated with your party.
Yeah, Rain had no idea any of this was going on.
Yeah,
Cornelius did. Yeah, he got distracted by wine tasting.
But I figured, yeah.
Well, he figures you're an adult. You could handle this yourself.
Well, it was also more the
he
part
should know better by now.
It's also more if shouting started, then he had to intervene. But since no shouting,
he could intervene and say, "I do not know that kobold."
No, I mean, it followed basically the plan of it. Like, Zarzul is not gonna be someone who, with this knowledge of information, is gonna be a threat for assassination, because he barely seems to understand it himself.
The man too stupid to die.
One day I'll have to fully test that, but I don't want to.
Well, it's easy. Just make a divination wizard.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, look at it this way: with the rate the group throws ones at least you can inflict it on someone else.
I'm going to wander over to Cornelius. Kerrigan was trying to explain something, and I just couldn't get it.
Is it
Oh.
because the player may have had a little tipple before the session?
During.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Zazzle wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Amazing how often the player and the character collide or coincide. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense for the kobold to not understand how this works with the whole crowning and such.
The whole politics thing's a bit strange. And you've got to remember, Zazzle might have been kicked out of his clan for being a little on the dumb side.
Or at least less of an asset to the whole of the tribe.
Yes.
Why are 5 of the tribe dead with monoxide poisoning? I had to light it. It smells so good.
What do you mean you couldn't understand?
I was asking about what we were sort of discussing earlier, and it wasn't making a lot of sense, the answers he was giving.
I was
Maybe
kind
you
of
should
looking right.
ask a couple.
Well, if he's telling things in a roundabout way, might also mean that it might not be the most convenient of places. Starting asking direct questions to him.
Possible. Maybe you should meet up with him later.
Yes. We should at least invite him over at some point. At least get over to him where he knows us a little more. Where he feels that he's a little bit more in control, I think. But you
Possible.
did good, Sasul. You can tell more later what you did. You can try to do your best to explain what you did. Hear
Okay.
from him. Yes. As Cadiz returns back to the host. Yes. Terribly sorry about taking my time, but there was quite fascinating, really. Quite a interesting story that was tapestried there.
Yes, I have wandered in there myself now and again. I've seen it many times before, but there's something about its stark kind of simplicity to it. There's none of the pretentiousness. There's no tiny-headed horses. There's no strange trends. It's the simple facts scrawled out. There's an interesting honesty to it. Although I think they got the size a little wrong in a few cases.
Well, one must respect that there are certain limits to this when you're dealing with a wall mural, after all.
Yes, indeed. Still, a fine effort.
Is Helveticus near there, or?
Yeah, she's kind of wandering around. But when you return, she'll meander over.
How about you, Lady Helvetica? Has the mural been of any interest to you, or?
Bit of jealousy, I'll be honest. We've just had to do some, my time as a squire, and then before I got my full blade, just banditry, a few renegade orcs. I mean, desperate and violent, of course, like always, but never had the option for dragon slaying or great show of heroism or even a massive monsters that apparently roamed this land for a while. I'm a little frustrated by all that, but I think the time is coming.
So certainly not a lack of events to encounter at this point.
Oh, well, you've seen those horrible beasts with the spikes on their tails and the great odd human faces. The manticores.
Did we ever meet them, or did we always manage to avoid them?
No, you've killed some.
We met them.
Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
entirely sure if that was those.
You killed them on
I
your
think
way
of
into the
Chimera.
city.
Yeah,
I've still got some spikes from one.
Yeah, you never fought the Chimera.
yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. Is the Chimera and Manticore always confusing with each other?
Yeah, you can tell the D&D Manticore has the horrible human face, and that's it. It doesn't have anything extra to it. Horrible human face, wings, lion body, and a big spike tail.
Ah, yes. I think that was also how we kind of got introduced to the city as well. I guess you could say it was the way we kind of got our name known before we went through the door.
Oh, yes, when they were trying to wash out the road.
Yeah. Fortunately, as a point out to Castelia, seemed to have a trick up her sleeve to deal with the rain cloud.
Just a simple dispel spell. You got a little lucky, but worked out great.
Yes, indeed. Great benefit to the city. Apparently, if they had gotten their way, it would have taken weeks to repair the roads. And at that point, it would have just been single carriages coming past. Thanks to your efforts, it was only, a matter of days?
Mm-hmm.
Incidentally, what did Castalia show up in?
Well, let's see.
Well, it's a case of, did she show up in her tunic and trousers?
No.
Did she show up in the dancer outfit? Or the dress she got for the party?
Probably the dress again, though. I'd rather not wear the same outfit twice. The rest just aren't highfalutin enough.
Is that really a concern?
Not really.
Besides, you know for a fact she wasn't at the party. That was kind of the end topic. By the way, your daughter's been captured by orcs. I hope she dies. That's right, she didn't see me with this. It's a new outfit, it's fine.
Well, she did see her in the battlefield, and in the travel home.
On the dancer outfit, yes, not in the dress.
All right. Oh yeah, okay, that way.
And you fought a couple of the creatures then?
Oh, indeed.
Must have been exhilarating.
Exhilarating and a little frightening at times.
I mean, I've gone over it in my head a few times. I mean, we have a few of the larger creature training dummies, but the idea of having to go up against such a huge roving mouth and those massive claws when you've only just got sword and shield in hand. I always had a bit of trepidation whenever it came to those training days.
Must admit it was made a little bit more simpler when you can wash them down from the sky.
It was also a small... would it be a step down? I don't know.
She wants to boast.
Side path from the Hydra?
A Hydra?
Mm-hmm.
One of those
yes.
many-headed serpents.
Yes.
You fought one of those?
Yes. Let's see. Where was that? Oh, it's
I
just...
can't remember. Anyone remember the desert town?
I do. It wasn't
Yeah.
a desert town.
Cedar No?
Oh yeah.
I
border
want
to
to
the
say
desert
Cedar
town.
No.
Cedar Nove is the correct answer.
No, yeah.
Not a desert town. In fact,
Yes,
attached to
that's
water.
all
That's
to
how
be.
the Hydra got there.
Just outside of Cedar No. With a bunch of bullywugs.
Ones who are now contemplating whether a wizard is their god. We're greater than your god. Said like a true fucking wizard.
I was gonna say that's how Wizard would respond to that.
You're gonna sit down one day in the yawning portal, and you're gonna see Mordenkainen and what was Ed Greenwood's one? God, I forget the name. But yeah, you're just gonna sit down with those great, horrible wizards who have only learned about the balance in their own interests, and they're gonna applaud that line. Then they're gonna point out, we said something like that when we were 9.
What took you so long, amateur?
But tell me, what sort of maidens have you made it with? No, I'm just greater than a god, that's all. So yeah, so it was outside Cedar Nove. Back to the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was outside Cedar Nove, led by a bunch of bullywogs. Or they were following it, deeming it their god.
Afraid all I can counter with is we almost faced a few of those. Apparently there are some in the southern territories, very southern. Actually nearer Borside than the capital.
Hmm.
And then there's the four townships, but it's mostly to the south. Apparently, they don't go too near the border to Gerad. It dries them out. But we found tracks. We found evidence of one of their raids, but we never found them. It's a little sad to tell, but it's how it is. I do remember we got a course instruction about them, though. They'd hired on this mercenary consultant several years ago. A strange sight, a very vulgar-voiced lizard folk. But he seemed to know what he was talking about. It's just I couldn't understand what he was saying. Still, that was just one of the few they brought in. So all those heads, that must have been... I'll be honest, it must have been terrifying.
At the end it was. There were almost more than you could count.
25. I remember because if Vid hadn't died that turn, the party would have been dead. With 25 rolls, I'm pretty sure I could have gone for you all. You're just lucky Droop was there. But at least there, it's just a hungry beast. It's just an animal. She gets quiet, sort of swishes around her wine a bit. Have you fought things like the Tanarooks before? Or worse? However, is there worse?
Tanarooks.
The demon orcs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we fought them in that cave.
No, you fought them before. Like, before you got to the Dragon Cult Shrine. The first one.
And technically
It was whenever I said, they've only got a +3. They're never going to hit your AC Castalia critical hit. Okay, you're struck by a tree, moving at high velocity.
No, I'm trying to remember if we also fought them in the cave. Where we
fought an actual demon.
All right.
Yeah, you didn't fight Tanarooks. You didn't fight any orcs up at the mine. You only fought Alchemians.
Well, we ran into a couple, along with some ogres and orcs, when we were on our way to the Gaphias tree to destroy that.
A tree?
Yes.
Keep in mind, you guys can, you can chip in whenever.
Yeah.
Probably close enough. But Cornelius was going to say something.
No, you do it if you want to.
Okay. So it was the blights, those little tiny twig blights and things that have been floating about. That's what's been causing the problem.
Haven't heard about any blights. Is it disease?
Um, not particularly. It's more of a magical thing. Cornelius, how would you quantify what the twig blights are in this situation?
Well, I suppose that it. I do not know if here among you, if you are aware with a local druid by the name of Atagoon.
No. No, I've never heard the name.
Well, it seems like he's taken a personal responsibility to make sure that the lands are taken care of, and he was kind of the one who started informing us that he needed help with dealing with, I would almost say, a parasitical the parasitical creature of some kind. The
Yeah.
alchemians also seem to be involved with that in somehow.
It's growing out of their heads.
Yeah.
Sounds like a horrible thing.
Oh, most definitely is. It's
But they yield to good steel.
no, fire seems to be much more effective.
Well, of course, but they're not some supernatural creature that can't be cut down. Right?
No.
But it takes a lot more effort.
Especially
Yeah.
to eradicate them completely.
It's like trying to hit. It's like if you're trying to swing, you swing your sword at an oak tree. Sure, you might at some point cut through it, but
It has
it'll
still
take a
left
while.
its nuts around to grow more.
I just like how this is Cornelius trying to flex. I mean, you could hack it down, but one flick of my finger and a somatic gesture, and it's gone.
I mean, that is basically what Cornelius has been doing all night.
Yeah, trying
all that
desperately
effort with the knife.
The problem is you sabotaged it with your story as well. Oh, here's the weird shit that happens in wizard school, too. By the way, this thing was a monster in disguise and started attacking people. By the way, did I mention a homunculus is magically created by magic people? I just like how it's a lot of to and fro there.
Yeah, but it's also, if anyone's calling out on him, it's sort of like, yeah, but it seems like a lot of war also seems to be mostly about people drawing swords and beating each other up. Funny that, huh?
It's much cheaper.
Yeah, but it's just you're pointing out that wizards doing weird shit can't exactly be comparable when you think about the majority is people stabbing each other with swords.
Yep, and that's why Borhen hit back with, yes, but I mean, you might come away with a split lip or such, but a wizard, he'll burn the fucking place to the ground.
Yeah, and the guy with the split lip might bring his friends, bring torches, and then burn the place down. But he's not going to say that because there's the guy as the guest. He's not going to call him out on it.
Don't piss in someone else's lawn.
Yeah.
It's not like we've burnt anything down, is it?
It's not like we have a prime example of a wizard accidentally burning down a building. You're never going to get away from that.
I mean, what about... I mean, if we also... The part where we're trying to just inflate a piece of paper because it slightly insulted him.
And now you know there's a copy floating in some other adventurer's hand. Well, you don't know in character, of course. But for the potential spooky one-shot, Braider's character has that exact note.
Hold on, my mother called. What exact note? I want to know this. Yeah,
the one insulting Cornelius and Malgern and Siegfried.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's just now, Mr. Cent, I have been told now, a big gruff hand on your shoulder, I have been told by Sir Horizon, you are an aficionado. You're a man who knows his varieties.
I don't wish to brag, but I haven't. You might say that it's a lifelong experience.
There's a rosy-cheeked look to Murloff. He's had a few at this point. Now, I'm
I
not
see he also
blind to the
missed the
way you've been
pocket.
looking at my beautiful daughter, who you've brought back, and while that may give you a chance, sir, I will not go easy on you in this one.
Oh,
Come,
this wasn't about wine.
we must engage in a duel, sir, you and I, of the bottles.
Okay, good.
Helvetica, for all her, trained responses, demeanor as a knight, she is kind of intimidating at first. Yeah, she just looks like every teen who is being embarrassed by her dad right now.
How old is Helvetica?
At a rough estimate, it's kind of hard to take. You'd say like early 20s.
All right.
Early to mid. I mean, it's one of those things where you'd have to ask the person.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
just like, what's the rough estimate?
Yeah.
It's just as you were mentioning that, it was like, wait.
But it's like,
How?
let's be honest here. We know our parents. Whenever they cause a scene, it comes right back.
Yeah.
You don't really lose that ability to be embarrassed that way. But yes, the bottles are set out. Horizon is the one pouring them. The blindfold put on. What are the rest of you up to while Cornelius steels himself against his greatest challenge?
I'm examining the wine bowl that's been brought out, which I assume has Cornelius Scent's label stuck on it. See if he can identify his own wine.
No, of course not. It's one of the Black Rose labels.
Okay.
That would be
But
pretty funny, though.
Rain is interested in this, so she's kind of watching this show.
Yes.
How much of an interest do you take?
I take a great interest.
Congratulations, you're now signed up.
Oh fuck!
Horizon pulls you
I
over.
I will point out I know nothing about wine.
It's perfectly alright, I mean, our great friend Sir Mulacrag, he had a go at it. You just have to let your taste buds take you where you may go. Just try to express yourself, and you might get it correct.
Probably not.
And then there's the familiar sensation of Horizon putting a blindfold on you.
Familiar? Wait a minute.
Well, you see, he lives in a luxurious pad, so there's even slices of cucumber on her eyes.
God.
A full-on sun mask to relax in.
Yeah, what were you thinking of?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The fuck were you thinking of? I want an answer, damn it. But yes, blindfolds are on, the drinks are poured. And now, I want some freestyle creative bullshit to go.
All right. Well, Cornelius going to start up. Well, first of all, I'm of course going to be a bit of a disadvantage as I'm not able to, of course, visualize the wine. I'm not able to see just how much acidic there might be. So let's just start out by bringing out the bouquet here. As I switches the glass about.
I can only imagine while he says that, Rain says, let me just get a full snort of the bucket.
Rain is currently updating Roll20 because she accidentally hit the go away button.
Yeah. Also, of course,
Yeah.
the Spitfire is
Forfeits.
in your hand.
Well, I'm picking up. Yeah, I'm picking up slight hints of the smell of fresh oak. Maybe a little bit of elm as well. A little hint of orange, curious. And then he takes a small sip and swishes about in his mouth. And makes it a signal for coming over the bucket.
Yep, it's placed in your hand so you don't miss.
Ah, yes. And There's the earthly volume. Hmm. Feels like it tastes a bit like it's a. This one has to be one of the later presses. This has to be the last part of the vineyard. It's gotten a little more ripeness to it. A little more sour, and I'm going to go slightly more acidic. If I'd be able to see it, I could probably see the blue tint as I tilt the glass towards me as it's catching it in the light.
Damn you, sir.
Meanwhile-
Damn you. The jolly
So-
good show.
So, just to be a little bit honest, so I had 1 year in business school, and one of the classes was about wine trade. So I picked up a little bit about how to tell about
Nice.
wine.
You remembered how to bullshit that?
Yes.
Nice.
You get an inspiration
But
if you
there
didn't already have one.
I already have the.
Damn, that was good. That was good though.
Mhm.
I couldn't taste any goddamn shit. All wine taste
Yeah,
exactly
it's all
the
the
same
same
sour.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
You're in the same boat as me.
Like in
Even
my
the
case,
sweet
I
wine.
can't. Like in my case, I can't even taste that. What I get is the alcohol. That's all I get. The chemical alcohol taste of it.
Yeah,
shit.
it's I don't.
I get nothing
It just
beyond
tastes
that.
bitter. But,
Okay. So, congratulations, you have earned the respect of Borhen in this regard. You may yet get his daughter.
Yes,
Rain.
unfortunately. Hang on, let me just finish. Yes, unfortunately, I have not made myself too aware of the local brands, so I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to forfeit on guessing the actual wine maker.
That's perfectly fine, sir. Perfect. I had as much of a suspicion. Now let us get started on your education. As a proper full glass is offered, and the blindfold's removed.
I can see the bottle. Oh.
Rain.
Rain just has that. You can just tell from the body language. She's like, "Why have I been drafted into this?" But she does take a brief sniff, but she doesn't really comment because she's not quite sure what the fuck she's supposed to comment on when it comes to the smell. But she does take a sip and just kind of pauses and goes, "Oh, it's a medium body wine."
It's actually familiar.
Oh. Though she would pause and definitely comment, "This is very familiar to something that I've had before, actually."
It's a bit crisp, a bit light. It's not. It doesn't feel like it was as heavy and full as the ones you were having at the table. It's got a bit more of a kick to it.
Would it be a dry or sweet?
Sweet.
Okay, so she would definitely comment on that, okay?
It's not the
It's
scent
definitely
wine. You
more-
remember that one? Like you've burned that into your memory.
Oh yeah, definitely. Can I roll
Anytime you
something
can
to
to
see
bring it up.
Can I roll something to see if I recognize some of that?
Yes, you can. You can roll intelligence
There we go.
as you're treacherring through your memory.
Hold on, it's loading up because, I'd accidentally closed out of the fucking thing. And holy fuck.
This is the kobold wine. You did not expect to have something that was mass-produced and cheap, but then you realize, well, he's got kobold guests who might appreciate just their favorite flavors.
While she's sipping, she would literally just pause and just go, "Kobold?"
My lady, you have an expert tongue. Well done.
She
I
was
love it.
flabbergasted.
Kobold?
She would not know much else to mention, but that would be about that as far as she's concerned.
Kobold?
But yes, as the blindfold's taken off, you see his big, beaming, proud face. You have done well.
She immediately starts blushing.
Anything further to speak about? As you know, it's still a friendly atmosphere right now. You haven't managed to completely foul it.
That's actually very rare.
It goes against expectations, yes.
Well, I mean, now as any probably, I don't know how emboldened Rain is, but now would probably be a good time to ask the question about the sewers.
After drinking their wine, it's time to bring up the sewers.
It would be
Yeah, I
the
know how it
fountain.
sounds,
We've
but
decided the fountain.
the fountain, yeah.
Well, which fountain was this one again? Where was it located?
There's
Well, it was
many.
outside the Paul quarter.
Many,
Yeah, that's
many.
outside the Paul
Okay.
quarters and near Cobalt House. So you could kind of excuse it by saying that the point reminded you of that.
Oh yeah, that could work.
Yeah, it's the one you remember Malgern and Megran pissing into. And then they got shot.
This does somewhat remind me about that lovely fountain that's outside of the Kobold house. I did always have questions. Who designed those fountains? They seem to be quite all over the place, and they're quite lovely.
Oh yes, those proud work of some of the less eccentric of the Fogelclumps. Yes, indeed. Long established in the city. In fact, before it was even chopped up by the necessary. Yes, I'll have a bit more of air in the glass. Yes, right to the top. Yes, there we go. Don't worry, Cornelius. No, the surface tension will hold. It's fine. Yes, just a little. Oh, someone's spilling their drink. Yes, the Fogelclumps put it together, and then I don't know who they got to do it, but did you know each one of them has a water weird inside it? Yes, a creature of elemental origin.
Oh, that's quite fascinating. I did see something somewhat similar to that when somebody was doing something in the fountain, but I did find that all quite fascinating.
Yes, keeps it clean, you know. Provides protection against. I mean, should the gates fall, this will not happen, of course. Yes, a bit more wine, sir. Yes. There you go. Try this bottle, Cornelius. You'll quite enjoy it. Yes, right to the top.
Oh.
It'll never happen, of
Needs
course.
to be. Oh.
It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I have many more. Don't worry. This is a common vintage, but it's still quite exquisite. Yes. I'm sorry.
He's just biting his tongue not to say that's not the point.
Yes, I was. The gates. Yes. Provided that they fall, which they will not. Not with our proud cerulean boys and women. And between, I think there's one that is. It's a bit more there, yes. I can see the bottom of my glass. There we go, yes. Yes, the weirds are...
Just... Yeah, it's just like he's fucking going through it.
Yeah, but you remember he also got pretty plastered during the party, but the wife had him taken away for a bit to recover. This is him not being able to get taken away because it's too small an affair. Yes, well, they're all trained, of course. Commanded, I think there's runes or whatnot in the water. Or it's just because it's such good, wholesome, holy places, in fact. Consecrated, yes. Yes, that was it. They said prayers and did little symbols around it. But when the city is under attack, those things will leap out. They will spit, they will howl, they will attack, they will defend our people. They're also apparently very good for keeping bugs out of it, although a few times a child has been hit in the face by a coin being launched out at high speed.
Really, no.
Is it particularly clear that he probably did know who made the fountain, but he's bullshitting it? Or is he bullshitting because he doesn't know?
Roll me an insight with advantage. He is absolutely sure that the Fuggleclumps designed it. He really doesn't seem to have any clue who was in charge of the elemental side of it.
Okay.
And he also seems to be right about the age, like, this is a long established part of the city. You're not sure how long, because he isn't sure right now either. And he's already, like, he's trying to fill up another glass, but you see he's getting tugged away a little bit by his wife Callista, who is just hooking arm and then very securely keeping it in place, a little bit of an arm lock. Yes, I think you've had enough, dear. I mean, I'm just giving the lad an education, and it's important not to drink alone. It's one of those basic lessons our great hero taught us. Yes, of course, but it's also important not to overindulge to the point you fall over, and you're very close to that. I hope you're all having a lovely time.
Oh, very. Thank you.
And we've probably got time for one more question, Pondry, or advancement. Before we at least end the session. Or shall I just throw the cliffhanger at you guys?
Sure.
Alright. Roll initiative. No. I'm only joking.
We don't know at this point anymore.
I know, that's the end point. Who knows, something might happen next time.
I'm pretty sure something will happen next time.
I really hope. But yeah, any concerns, wonders, questions? In character?
Are you not happy with the way the session went?
We're still recording, man.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
I mistook that for...
Yeah, that's why I'm saying in character. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. We've laughed. I mean, just once, but we've laughed.
I think I'm good.
I'm laughing, but I'm also pulling hair out and clawing off my eyes. So I try desperately to get these fuckers to be proactive and do a little bit.
Nope.
Well, unfortunately, you're also dealing, and of course, the wizard player who is also the most careful of all players. So that's why I'm relying everyone else to be throwing caution to the wind.
All I'm hearing is he wants to throw us all under a bus.
No, not throwing under a bus.
Choosing the intelligent individuals to ask questions that would be innocent, but could be considered problematic if done by somebody who has more know-how of the situation.
Uh-huh.
A coward. But yeah. Okay, we'll leave the session off for tonight then. Because we're just at the 3-hour mark. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll get back to a little bit more of a party, hopefully more to say, and maybe some surprises.
Nice.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I'll hit the button that says stop streaming.